Hello, welcome to Living and Learning. My name is Allison Kinnear, and Living and Learning is where I jump onto Facebook Live and talk about life. I talk about worthiness and boundaries and communication, and today we are going to be hitting on two of those topics. It is about boundaries and work-life harmony. In the month of May, we are talking about work-life harmony, which is my way of talking about what other people call work-life balance. I'm not really a big fan of balance necessarily, but I do think that work, our personal lives and our professional lives can harmonize. And it's not always going to be in sync, but we can do things to create some conditions for our work and life to harmonize. Last week I talked about fear of missing out, and today I want to talk about boundaries. And when I talk about boundaries, I'll talk about what boundaries is, but first I want to tell a little story. As many of you know who have been watching me for a long time, I always like to start off with a story because I think it can really ground the tip or the idea into real life practice. So this past week I said yes to a meeting up in North Seattle, which is, I'm way south of Seattle, so it's about an hour and a half with traffic, or yeah, even without traffic, it's a solid hour, if not more. And I said yes to the meeting because I was excited about it, and I was excited for the prospect of what it meant. And so I was like, yeah, let's do this. And Saturday came around and I was ready. Sunday came around, even Sunday night, my meeting was scheduled for Monday afternoon. And Sunday night I was ready, although part of me was kind of looking at the commute and going, oh, that's going to be hard. That's going to be painful. But you know what? I said yes, so I'm going to go ahead and keep going with it. Monday morning came and I was like, yeah, I can go to this meeting. And part of the meeting was to have a prolonged relationship where I would commute to North Seattle on a regular basis. And I was like, oh, I don't think I'm going to say yes to this. I think the commute and the time demands for what it takes to drive there, work for an hour and come back is not feeling very good to me. So I was trying to get more and more pause and hesitation. And come mid-morning, I was in full-blown dread and feeling resentful that I'm going to carve out 3 to 4 hours of drive time for a 1.5 hour meeting for something I'm not even going to want to do. I was in this kind of state and I realized, aha, I have a boundary here. I have something that is not okay, because all boundaries are very clear what is okay and what is not okay. That's it. And that is not a hard and fast rule all the time, because clearly saying yes to this was in my okay bucket up until Monday morning. And it wasn't only up until mid-morning that it was really falling in the not okay bucket. And I realized I had a choice. I could go to the meeting knowing that I would never go back there again, knowing that I would say no to working together in this kind of format, and that it would be a no. And thereby wasting my time, wasting the time of the people I was going to meet. Or I could call and say, hey, I got really excited about this idea, and I really, up until today, I felt like maybe that it was in alignment, but as time wore on, I realized it was further and further out of alignment, and I would not be standing in my integrity if I were to say yes to get your hopes up that I would come in for this meeting and have you go through the work, have me go through the work, all when I already know it's a no. And so I decided that that was what I needed to do, was I needed to call and have the uncomfortable conversation. Hello, Allie, welcome. And I know there's somebody else watching, but if you don't comment, I can't tell who you are. So leave a comment down below. So anyway, once I realized I was dreading this appointment, that I was already kind of feeling like I was brimming with resentment, that it was important for me to stand in my integrity. And even though it was uncomfortable, to say, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to come, and to cancel on the day of and suffer the consequences of what that cancellation means. I knew it was within everyone's best interest if I did just that, because otherwise I was wasting the time and hopes and expectations of the people I was about to meet, and I was wasting the times and hopes and expectations of myself. And so I made the phone call and I said exactly what I just said now, and saying I thought it was in alignment. I'm realizing it's not. I want to stand in my integrity. I already know that it's going to be a no just based on the commute and travel time. I'm really incredibly sorry. And I hope, and I apologize for the inconvenience this causes not only you, but the other people that were going to be there. And I have to live with the consequences of what it means to cancel at the last minute. I recognize that. And I also felt incredible relief on the other side. Now, sometimes our boundaries are not clear until the 11th hour, like it was for me. However, there are other times when we can see that train coming, when we know there is a whole lot of no that you want to say. There's a whole lot of, I know I will be in my resentment. I know that I will be in my, be dreading this. Whether it's with your parent, with the PTA, with your boss, with your colleagues, with your family members, with your spouse, with your partner, with your kids, whatever it is, if you know that saying yes and overcommitting yourself or committing yourself to something is going to bring resentment and dread, then you are not, nobody wins in that situation. Last week I talked about the fear of missing out, and what happens when we live with the fear of missing out. We tend to say yes to a lot of things. It becomes a habit to say yes to this and yes to that and yes to this and yes to that, and we overcommit ourselves. And then what ends up happening is when all of those things we said yes to, we suddenly have to we suddenly find ourselves in the dread, in the resentment, realizing that we did not uphold our own boundaries. We did not stand in our own integrity. There's integrity of meeting our commitments, but there's also integrity of making sure you're not showing up filled with resentment, and integrity of yourself and your own boundaries. So we have to examine all of those layers, all of those levels when it comes to saying yes to something and following through with it. And how can you, if you find yourself having said yes and needing to backtrack, how can you do so in a way that's not leaving a total, mess for other people to clean up? The thing I said no to, it was just a meeting on somebody's calendar. That was it. It wasn't like it was a huge deal, and it wasn't a huge thing, and they had many other options to pursue other than meeting with me. So it felt fairly low risk, even though it was really uncomfortable. But we have to be willing to step into those uncomfortable conversations, to step into those uncomfortable situations when we recognize that we are feeling the dread and the potential resentment. Those are indications of maybe I have a boundary. Maybe I need to say no here. Silver, I love how working on showing up in the best frame of mind. Exactly. We have to work on showing up in a way that we can truly and genuinely be like, yes, I am so in on this. I don't care what comes up in my life. I am so in on this opportunity. I'm so in to say yes to this. We have to do those spot checks with ourselves to make sure that we can keep in alignment, because that's how our work-life harmony comes together. We have to say no to things. And sometimes we have to say no to things that we've already said yes to. Sometimes we have to find that way to graciously say, I'm recognizing I'm not helping anyone by being here right now. And so I offer that to you. Make sure you're checking in with yourself. Do I feel dread? Do I feel resentment? What can I say no to? How can I say no to it? And if you are interested in learning the tools and techniques around how to communicate around your boundaries, even in the trickiest of situations, let me know. That's the work that I do. Anyway, I leave you with that. I hope you have a wonderful week of living and learning. Thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in live, and I will see you all next week for more talk about work-life harmony. Take care. Bye-bye.